we thought, how could we help? So we created the local lockdown series. We did a collaboration with 6 different breweries, and this is one of the beers.
G'day everyone, welcome back to another episode of A Beer with the Brewer. This week my normal partner in crime, co-host Flex, is on a weekend away down in Tasmania, so shout out to Flex. But today I have a special guest joining me, Luke Phillips from Deep Creek, a brewery based in Auckland, New Zealand. Who we have recently brewed a beer with and done a collaboration. So we thought we'd get Luke over to chat about this one. Pretty sort of cool idea. Bit of a Australian and Kiwi theme. I think we'll chat to Luke very shortly to discuss the sort of idea behind the collab. But yeah, welcome Luke to the show.
Thanks.
No worries. I guess we can sort of start by telling us a little bit about yourself and your background in the beer industry.
Or myself. How long have we got?
No, we got a little while, so.
Yeah, look, I've been around in the beer industry, particularly up here in Queensland, for a long time before. I used to work for a company called Moo Brew out of Tasmania, and that's where I got my start. That was before there was any Brisbane breweries in existence at all, and been in and out of different breweries and things like that. But currently now I'm General Manager of Australia for Deep Creek, who's like you said, an Auckland brewery from Silverdale and north of Auckland. 9 years old, and going strong.
Awesome. So I guess the beer is part of the local lockdown series.
Yeah.
So I guess you were part of the brainchild of what this beer was about and the reason for sort of brewing it with us and a few other Aussie breweries. So maybe tell us a little bit about the series and the idea behind it.
Yeah, 100%. It's like everybody knows that what we've all been through this year because of COVID and the way it's changed things. I work for a Kiwi brewery. None of the guys can come across here, and a similar thing happened to us right at the very start of when the shit hit the fan. Essentially, we had Beer Billetech came over from where are they from? Denmark or something?
Yep.
From Scandinavia, shall we say? And they come over to do. I think they were doing the hop thing at the same time.
The hop harvest.
Yeah, and we're about to do a collab beer. And basically a week before they went to brew it, shit hit the fan, and they had to jump on a plane. And basically the guys said, "What do we do about this beer?" And they're like, "Well, you got the recipe, just brew it."
Yep.
So did a collab with a brewery, and no one was there. Same sort of situation as what's happened here. So basically we come about, we sort of thought about how we could sort of help the Australian market. So the Australian market is our second biggest market, New Zealand obviously being our biggest market. We do export into quite a few countries into Asia and things like that, but it was pretty difficult times for a lot of breweries, you guys yourselves included. A lot of breweries going through expansion at the time of COVID, and we thought, how could we help? So we created the local lockdown series. We did a collaboration with 6 different breweries, and this is one of the beers.
Awesome. So a pretty good idea, I think, to sort of, I guess, do it remotely. I know for us, we had for me, a pretty early Zoom call.
Yes.
With New Zealand being a few hours ahead of us. So
Yeah,
we caught Hamish over there in the brewery, the head brewer over at Deep Creek. So sort of just chatted about the idea for the beer, over Zoom, and then I guess, we just sort of took the reins and brewed the beer, and I assume that's similar to the other ones you did?
Yeah, 100%. So, get used to those early meetings, mate. I get one once every week at 7 a.m., which is 10 a.m. New Zealand time now. But that's essentially the crux of it. Hamish Ward, our head brewer in New Zealand, has been really good with this. He's been available to all the breweries for any advice or any questions or anything like that. has helped with recipe development. And basically, he's very relaxed about the situation because he doesn't know what sort of hops are available here or what sort of grain that you guys are currently using and that sort of thing. So each one has been sort of different, but there's been a pretty big sort of theme in most of them have New Zealand and Australian hops.
Yep.
And your beer is actually carried on the same sort of theme. So
yeah, cool. What other breweries were involved?
yeah, so the first brewery was Hemingway's
Yep.
up in Cairns in North Queensland. Second one was One Drop out of Botany in Sydney.
Yep.
Number 3 was Big Shed in Adelaide, Big Shed Brewing Concern. You guys are number 4. Number 5 and number 6 are still in tank at the moment, which is Moffat Beach Brewing, which has just opened their big
Yep.
production facility, and Blaster in WA. Now, it's been a weird sort of situation where I've been to a few of the brews, but some of the brews I actually wasn't able to get to.
Yep.
One Drop we were locked out of at the time from Sydney. And WA obviously has only just opened their borders, but too late for me, unfortunately. So yeah, it's been a different situation for each one.
Yeah, cool. So I guess brewing the beer for us was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Very good idea and good to be a part of. I guess now we can crack the beer open and have a chat about
Thank
the actual
you.
beer itself. Sitting here
Looking at a
Very
can for
patiently
5 minutes,
staring at the beer.
getting dry on the lips and
A little parched.
cheers.
Cheers, mate.
Smells divine.
So yeah, I guess the idea for the beer being the Australian and New Zealand collaboration. As you mentioned, we used Aussie and Kiwi hops, 2 of each. So I'm looking at the label here. So we've got Motueka and Hort. Hort 4337.
Nectaron now.
Now Nectaron.
Yeah,
I don't think it's
they're calling
Nectaron here in Australia yet.
Okay.
So that's still to come, I think. And then what have we used Aussie? I should know this. Enigma and Eclipse.
Yeah.
So Eclipse being the new Australian hop that's just been
First
released.
time I've had an Eclipse beer too.
Yeah, so I actually got sent the pack from HBA, who grows the hop of 12 different Eclipse beers. So heavily sort of mandarin flavour out of Eclipse, which is quite nice. And then the Mountain IPA, this was something Hamish actually come up with. It's sort of a cross between a hazy IPA and a West Coast IPA. So the heavy dry hopping and hopping regime of a hazy IPA, we use quite a few hops in the beer. And then as you can see, it's not that hazy. So that's sort of the West Coast coming through. So it's pretty well balanced, 7%. It's got a nice bit of bitterness without being too bitter. And I think it's come out really nice. All those sort of hops work pretty well together.
Yeah, 100%. It's a beer that that Hamish has actually brewed previously in our Totem series, which is our West Coast series.
Yep.
And it was called Strength. It's no longer in production, obviously. So we thought this was a good opportunity. 6 different breweries, and we didn't want to brew all hazy IPAs or all lagers or something like that.
Yeah.
So we wanted to have some difference between each one of the beers. And the Mountain seemed to work really well. Yeah, and it's tasting great.
I think it's come up all right, yeah. And I think the design looks really cool with the Kiwi and the Aussie colours. So good job to our label designer.
Yeah, 100%.
Give him a shout out.
Yeah, it's got that Wallabies All Black sort of theme to it.
Probably dominated by the All Blacks.
Bit of a shame, but yeah, I work for a New Zealand brewery, but I'm a massive Wallabies fan.
Yeah.
But anyhow,
We won't mention that.
no,
I think we
we'll
got
just
him in the
move on
cricket.
from there. Yeah, cricket's coming. A bit more positive.
Yeah, cool. So that's it, I guess. The Mountain IPA. So this one's just been released, I think, a week ago or so.
Yeah,
In all your local stockists, I think some of this is going to make its way down to Sydney as well. Is that the plan to get the
yeah,
distribution?
Sydney and Victoria. I think your distributor down
Yep.
in Vic's taking on some, and he gets some of the beers off to South Australia as well.
Yeah,
so
awesome. So it's going to reach a few states. So get it. Well, it's nice and fresh and tasting delicious, I think.
yeah, that was one of the ideas, to try and get it into markets that you guys are not normally familiar with, and and get some people that are not normally familiar drinking Rebel beers into Rebel beers, and then keep seeking them out in the future.
Yeah, absolutely. Awesome. Well, thanks for coming for a chat, mate.
Yeah, cheers.
Good to have you on the show.
Nice one.
Cheers.
Thank you.